Welcome to OZTV. Here we talk about everything that you need to know. We talk about family, we talk about relationships, we talk about children, homes. We talk about virtually everything. So I want you to subscribe, like, comment, click on the notification bell for more videos coming up. And watch out for a new show coming up called Spill It All. Thank you. Hello everyone and welcome to OZTV. Today on Spill It All, we're going to be talking about divorce. I'm your host, Uzioma Anajiku, and with me in the house is our counselor, Joy Uzoho. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Our man in the house, Christian Onilo, right?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
And also our beautiful Wando Mbalaso. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we're talking about divorce today. So please, it's going to be very interactive because divorce is something that is really, going on a lot, this past years. So what do you see as divorce? Can anyone just say something, like a brief definition of divorce?
Divorce is legal dissolution of a marriage by a court or other legal bodies.
Okay. So what do you think is like the cause of, series of divorces in this day and age?
I would say what I think is the cause of divorce, the high rate of divorce, is that it's, people not being compatible with each other anymore. I mean, you can barely even tolerate yourself, talk less of tolerating someone else. Sometimes it becomes really overbearing, you begin to ask yourself, how did I even get into this? What even led us into this? And by the time you can't tolerate each other, you're at each other's neck, you just don't see yourselves fit anymore for the marriage. And I think that's what most time causes divorce.
So do you think there's something we're getting wrong somewhere? Because when you look at our parents, they kind of try to work it out and their marriage lasts longer. But this time we don't have that patience. Do you think if there's something we're missing?
I think our mothers endured a lot. They really endured a lot. Back then, they were more worried about what people will say. I'm married today, tomorrow I'm no longer in my husband's house. They were more concerned about the society and how much they'll be judged.
Exactly.
Most of them, if you ask them tomorrow if they really wanted to say, the answer is no. Our mothers endured. And that's what we're all getting it wrong. I don't know if we're getting it wrong now, but what they took, unfortunately, most of us can't take.
Sometimes most people, when they separate, sometimes maybe the marriage is not working or they kind of separate for a while, they come back together and make it work. You understand? But in most cases, it doesn't just work out. And that is the reason for the divorce. So, Mr. Christian, what do you think from a man's, point of view? What do you think is actually, the thing that gets them to that point where they're like, they don't want it anymore?
Okay, like she rightly said, one of the reasons might be not being compatible with your partner. These days, people marry out of obligation, or marry out of family ties, or marry because of business partnership, or marry because of what you intend to be in future. Your future depends on this family, or depends on this business, or depends on this person for you to grow. So we don't marry out of love. So compatibility, that's where compatibility comes in, because you have to marry your friend, someone you can confide in, someone that you can talk to in good or bad times. Even on the altar, they tell you for better, for worse. But these days, it's just for better, for better. When that worse starts coming in, when push comes to shove, either parties might want to pull out. But there are also a lot of reasons why divorces are on the rise these days. You can go from social media to trust to finances to kids having children. There are a lot of reasons why people divorce these days. You might be married for years and you don't have a child. The man might be under pressure from the family to get another wife, and in getting that other wife, you cannot stay in there as the first wife. You said you don't want this, you want a divorce. You can have 3 or 4 female children and you don't have a male child, and it can push you into getting a divorce. Depends on how it comes from, you know. There are families that are very, very traditional, like they want that male child, There are families that are going through that, ladies, women, married women that go through a lot of pressure because they just have female children and they don't have that male child.
But sorry to cut you off, that is actually the duty of a person, like a man, whatever he gives a woman, that's what she produces.
So many Nigerian,
how
many African men.
How would you divorce a woman based on that?
There are a lot of people that do that, though. There are a lot of people that do that. Also, it goes to social media these days. The exposure each partner gets to social media, especially if you're in a marriage that you're not really very happy with, or you're not getting the attention you think you deserve. You're not getting that love you think you get. And someone out there on social media, on Instagram or WhatsApp or Twitter is giving you that attention or time, you tend to want to drift towards that person, and you find yourself drifting away from your marriage. You find yourself thinking that you're single again. You just want to be free. You get it, then at the end of the day, you end up getting a divorce. You might not even get a divorce, you might just leave your husband, or the husband might just leave you totally. You can go to finances as well. You got married to this man when he was very rich, and all of a sudden things starts to change. He loses his job, he loses his home, he loses this, he loses that, and you can't cope again. Probably you're used to the high life, you're from a family that is wealthy, he doesn't want to take from your family, and you'd be like, no, you can't live this kind of life. You want to separate ways, especially if you feel like you can make it better than him alone. So there are a lot of factors now that make divorce, become something that it never used to be a topic in our part of the world before, because like she said, our mothers really endured a lot. Be it them thinking about what will people say, or thinking about the children. They might be going through a lot from the husband, but because of the children, they're like, no, I can't leave them. I have to stay in this marriage and try and see how we can make it work. Well, let us just live like husband and wife, even if we can't live as lovers anymore. Just work it out. So there you have it.
So, do you think that the children are, affected in this decision making when it comes to divorce? How are the children more affected in this?
Before I actually answer the question, there are a few things I want to break down. He mentioned one. We are leaving domestic violence out of divorce.
Okay, yes, beautiful.
Domestic violence go beyond beating the woman. That one is obvious. We see it all the time. We beat her. Our fathers of old beat their wives, and they will say, "Answer, Lord and Savior." And you find out that those days our mothers died too. They died too. And when they died, most of the husbands that beat their wives tend to take good responsibility. Some of them did not take good responsibility, of which is still resulting to the domestic violence that is still going on among men, because they were not properly raised. Most children emulate some things from their parents. Seeing what father did to mother. Some of them tend to make a change. Some tend to follow the trend, the pattern. Money. In every marriage, I will advise every man, make sure you have money. I love to break down things so that
so if you don't have money, you can't get married.
You actually took the words from me.
Okay.
Because in breaking down things, I'm going to expatiate more on it. Every woman's temperament is different, and every man's temperament is different. We are wired differently. Men are wired differently. There is a woman that will stay with a man without a dime, and she's the one bringing out and nobody will hear. She will take care of the family, cover the man so well. And there is a man that will be in such marriage, lord the woman too, be the lord over the woman, misbehave, maltreat her,
and she will still take it and endure.
Exactly.
Especially she's the one providing. Right?
Despite she's the woman, providing, she can still give to the man, do all those things, keep quiet. But let me tell you, one thing that happened to such women, they die inside.
True.
Right now, that is the reason for most of the depression you see. Such a woman is very dangerous. If she have a relationship outside you until you die, you will never know.
True.
Yeah, sure.
Why? If you're not making her happy at home, she's ready to provide for you. Two of you will cohabit happy together as two tenants in one house. She will tolerate you. But she have something she's doing and you will never know. As for being happy, she must be happy. She will derive her joy from somebody. Now, there's another woman, there's another type of woman. The one that is not ready to say you're not providing. Two of us cannot be able to live in the same roof. That woman is wired differently. There is another type of woman too. The one that you're not providing, maybe you give little. The one you feel you have, that little you can afford. She go out there, do all manner, bring it back. Bringing it back means she have limits to what she can be able to provide for in the house. The remaining is your business. One, it will drag the man into depression. But this one, we feel good. So these are three categories of women you will see in every woman on the planet Earth. Why I said money is good is this. A man retrieves his rights, his position as the man of the house when you have money. You know you can be able to tell her to an extent, sit down here. And she sits down there because she knows you're paying the bills. Now, I'm not going to advise any man if you're... Now, I'm not going to advise you if you say if you don't have money. For God's sake, if you don't have money, don't marry yet. Please, look for something doing at least. There must be an income to an extent. And when that woman is coming, make her to be aware, this is my income, is 20,000 naira. Can you cope with me? You people will come to an agreement on that table so that tomorrow when she raises her head up, you tell her, you know right from day one, I am earning 20,000. But something is coming in. For God's sake, the issue is not the man not having the money, but you becoming relaxed. Even at that, I'm waiting for her to fend or take care of that thing. Even at not having that money, you're not relaxed. Let me give you scenarios. I'm a woman. There are several of our friends that will come and tell you, he's not doing anything and he sits in the house from morning till night. He doesn't cross the door.
It's frustrating.
It's frustrating.
It's frustrating.
Now, every man that hears
not working from home.
Nothing is happening, nothing is coming in.
Nothing.
The woman pays the house rent, she pays the children's school fees, she feeds the children, she clothes the man, clothes the children, paid all manner of bills. The Bible said, I am your helpmate. It did not say, I am the head of the family. And let me tell you one funny thing about women. The moment you hand over power to some women, you have lost it.
This last scenario you just painted, is it that the man used to work, then stopped working, then she now took over the bills? Or before they got married, it was always been like that and she still got married to him and she's still doing all that?
Two scenarios. There are some that we are working
Okay.
and or doing business.
Okay.
And at a time, that we are not able to meet up anymore.
Okay.
They are not doing business.
Okay.
And you sit in the house 1 year, okay, I understand, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, and no business
It's coming in.
is coming in. And your wife maybe comes to you and tell you, why don't you find, no matter how little it is, start doing something? And you tell your wife, no.
Because of
If
where I've been
before.
before.
If it is not this time, I will not do it.
Exactly.
Now, there are several women that have gone to the point of borrowing money to give to their husband, start up something, and the man squanders the money. You go again.
Hold on. Sorry, I'm cutting you short. Since you've been talking, you've been focusing a lot about the woman being the victim, the more in divorce. Divorce is both ways. It can happen to a man, it can happen to a woman.
The point is that you don't even allow me to calm down.
You know, because most of the points you've been giving,
I'm going to go the other way around.
It's all about a lady or a woman.
Okay, let's hold on. I'm going to go the other way around as well.
Okay.
Now, before I go to that route,
Okay.
what we're talking about, why I focus on men, because they are the head of the family. If anything goes wrong from the head, it gets to down. If a man do not hold his house very well, firm, and something goes wrong, it comes down.
Yep.
Every other person, it affects every other person. Remember the question you asked me is about the children, and that is where I'm tending to. That's where I'm going to. Let me tell you, in every family, the children have eyes. You don't need to tell them most of the time. Do you know that the children will always come to their mother and say, "Mommy, there is no salt. Mommy, there is no pepper. Mommy, there is no rice. Mommy, there is no this." You understand me? And most of the time, mommy will say, "Go to your father and tell your father." And some of them will say, the ones that are friendly with their father will go to their father. Go back and tell your mother, "I don't have money." She knows I don't have the money. The ones that are not friendly will say, "No, I will not go. Daddy will shout at me."
Or he will say he doesn't have.
He doesn't have. See, I'm painting a pure scenario of a family.
Yes.
The way it is.
Yes.
Good. The way it affects the children is, if the children used to have a good life, and suddenly something goes bad, it's no longer that way, and the burden is on one shoulder right now, at a time it will show that it's on one shoulder. How does divorce affect them? When husband and wife live together, these children enjoys this friendliness and love in the family. When the husband and wife separate, at the initial time, the children will be feeling and having that affection for their father or their mother, depending on who is with the children at that time, whether it's the father or the mother. They will begin to feel. At times they will ask you, "Oh, what of my daddy?" Some of them will ask you, "What of my mom?" Those questions means they need the attention of that particular person they are asking after. It affects them psychologically. It affects them emotionally. It affects some of them that are so attached. In the education, it affects them. They tend to begin to forget things in class or begin to go back academically. It affects them socially. In the midst of their friends, they begin to ask them, "I've never seen your father. Who is your father?" Some of those questions will start coming up. Do you understand? It affects them when they go to church and some things are being preached and all that. Some of them, children think. You feel they call them children, but they have brain. They think. They look, they see. It affects them in all this way around. But after some time that they must have stayed with maybe either of the parties, they begin to adjust from the one life they used to have with these two people staying together. They begin to adjust. But a time still comes when they will not adjust completely. They still want an affection of a particular person that is not around, either the father or the mother. If the father is with the children, probably the father marries another woman. There's something that will happen. Everything will tend to, because my mother is not here. If the children are with the mother, and the woman marries another man, it will now be, "It's because you're not my father." So something must make the absence of either parties affect them, and they begin to tend towards, I would have gotten this thing better, I would have done this better, I would have seen it this way. Finally, before I conclude, another thing that causes divorce for some people, not all women, some women, not all, is adultery. There are women that cannot take cheating. There are women, especially if they tend to be very faithful, there are women that cannot take cheating. And there are women that can overlook it and just move on. Say, after doing it, you come back home, no problem, I'm here. We die here together. But there are some who will tell you, but cheating and or adultery is in degree.
Levels.
A man that sees everything in sketch, including house help. Including house help. You see that the woman will begin to have a rethink over her life. Because it can land the man into problem. And